una vez más a mi canal. Si ustedes son nuevos en mi canal, entonces yo soy Nas y para el video de hoy les voy a compartir cómo ustedes pueden ser exitosos en tus exámenes de CSEC, porque es muy posible si ustedes saben la estrategia. And that's exactly what I want to talk about. Literally, when it comes on to CSEC Spanish, apart from literally knowing the language itself, something that's extremely important for you to go into those examinations with, share with you the strategies that I approach these examinations with and what you need to approach these examinations with. Now, this video is one thing, but I'm also going to be hosting my second ever CSEC Spanish marathon, and what you can expect are: 1, key strategies for mastering orals and paper 2, grammar review and breakdown, letter writing practice, common Spanish examination mistakes to avoid, important study tips, practice with past papers. I do weekly CSEC Spanish tutoring. If you're interested, email me with the email on the screen. It's also in my description, because guys, trust me, when it comes down to CSEC, especially at this time of the year, or marathons are your best friends. And I talked about that in a previous video when I was sharing with my friend Vashti about where, when, and how to start studying for CSEC. I did a video last year which kind of dissects some very specific tips for different CSEC and CAPE subjects. I will link those videos down below. But for today's video, I'm really targeting my Spanish friends, my CSEC and CAPE Spanish friends, because I'm trying to help you, help me, help you. What we're going to be tackling in this video, like I said, is strategy. That is the one thing you need to know to conquer exams. Strategy. Now, what do I mean? Let's look at the oral examinations. You have 3 sections, right? Situations, you have a passage to read, you have the general conversation, right? When it comes on to orals, there's one thing that you need to understand. This is your time to impress. This is your moment to shine. In orals, do not hold back. This, guys, like, I remember I was doing an oral examination in grade 7, that's first form, right? I don't know why, but the teacher asked me, ¿Cuál es la fecha? What's the date? And I gave him the date. And like, when I reached the year, I knew how to say the year in Spanish, you know. But for some reason, I was like, okay, maybe if I tell him the date in the year in Spanish, it kind of sounds too advanced, and I don't want him to think like, oh my gosh, where she get that knowledge from or whatever. I don't know what was going through my head in that examination. Do not ask me, because I couldn't tell you. But I was like, I'm gonna hold back the year. I said the year in English because I was afraid to sound like I felt like it was showing off, because I was like, oh my gosh, I'm in grade 7 and I can just say something so advanced as the year in Spanish. What kind of, don't know where that was coming from, but literally I have now learned after years of doing oral examinations that this is your time to impress. This is probably one of the aspects of Spanish that people dread, because you guys are afraid to speak the language. You don't want to talk in Spanish, you get nervous, you think you can't remember the conjugations, and it's just like, but this is actually a time to shine, to be free, to be comfortable, to be confident. And literally, it's not a matter of them trying to test your perfection. You're not going into the exam, especially when it comes down to the reading passage. It's not a matter of racing through it and reading it fast. Reading something fast is not fluency. What they're testing with the reading passages is how you flow as a reader. Are you a competent reader in Spanish? Are you counting your words? That's one of the common mistakes that people make in oral exams. They count their words. They don't know when to pause. They don't have inflection in their voice. They're not just listening out for you to pronounce properly, but also, how are you as a literal reader? We know, because we speak English, we can identify when somebody's reading and them not sound like them competent, or them don't sound good. Either they're monotonous, or them count them words, or them just don't sound good. And we know what that don't sound good sound like. So in the same way, the examiner is listening out for those same things in Spanish. Do not race through your reading passages. Take your time. When you go to the oral examination, you actually go outside for a little while. You have the paper with the situations and the reading passage to practice before you actually go into the exam room. While you're out there, determine from early which is your weaker spot, the situations or the reading passage. whichever is the weaker spot, spend more time on that before you go into the room, so that when you go into the room, you just reel it off, right? And you're confident, because this oral exam, first of all, is literally like probably 5 minutes. I got asked maybe 5-6 questions, and I only got asked them under one theme. So don't go in there thinking I'm gonna ask you questions till thy kingdom come. They have several other students that they attend to, so best believe they might ask you 4, 5, 6 questions and call it a day. And it might just be in one theme, 2 themes. It won't be in all 5 themes, right? The strategy that you need to go in there with is, 1, do not shy away from showing off your knowledge of the tenses, because the oral examination is literally them testing your knowledge of the tenses. They will ask you certain questions just to hear if you're going to use the tense. For example, let's look at the situations. All of the situations are testing your knowledge of commands. Are you familiar with the commands in Spanish? In the questions, you get asked something just for them to test your knowledge of the subjunctive. Now, I know we all hate subjunctive, but literally, do not shy out. You will get marks because they will be impressed by you using the subjunctive, because they know why they're asking you certain questions, and they will phrase it certain ways to hear that out of you. Of course, there's always a way to cop out of it, but do not cop out of the subjunctive. Do not cop out of your preterite, your imperfect. Show them your range of the tenses. They want to know your range. They want to know. They're literally listening out for whether or not you have limited vocabulary or wide vocabulary. So do not shy away from that. If they ask you a question and you can give a reasoning for why you gave the response that you gave, give that reason, even if they don't ask you why. So for many of the questions, they're going to ask you, ¿Te gusta tu escuela? ¿Por qué? Even if they don't ask you por qué, give them a reason why. They'll be impressed by that. Be expressive, expound. Do not give 3-worded answers. Here's a trick. The more meaty your answers are, the less questions you're likely to get. And that's a strategy that I literally use every single oral exam. I'm not saying to go off on a tangent and start giving irrelevant responses. Do not answer what was not asked. But the more lengthy and expressive and meaty your response is, the less likely they're gonna ask you more questions, because they have to work with a time frame. First of all, paper 2, oh my gosh, I don't know if you guys realize this, but sometimes the answer that you're looking for is literally right in front of you. As in, sometimes you're trying to translate a word and you don't recognize that the answer is literally right before you. When you go into the exam, skim through all the sections of the paper before you do it, because sometimes, and this has happened to me, where my letter, the topic I got to write on my letter was the same topic that was the reading comprehension, and because I skimmed through the paper beforehand and I look at the reading comprehension, when I was writing my letter, I learned a vocabulary from the reading comprehension that I was able to use in my letter. Literally, sometimes the very vocabulary you're straining yourself to remember is right there on the paper, in the contextual dialogue, in the reading comprehension, right? And for me, I do not do the paper in order. I would suggest that you don't do the paper in order. I would say the first thing to tackle for paper 2, tackle the letter first. For me, it was always the letter first. Then you can go back to your situations, contextual dialogue, and then the reading comprehension can be done last. You will thank me later, because you want to put all of your energy, when you just start the examination paper, all of your energy and all your thought process and your focus, you want to really narrow in on the most quote-unquote difficult part of the paper first, get that out of the way, and then breeze your way through the rest of it. Whatever section is you think will take you the most time, do that section first and flesh it out. Put all your energy into it, right? Time yourself, because you don't want to spend too much time on it and then you end up having not enough time for the other sections. But do the extensive writing sections of the paper first. Very important, right? And when it comes on to the situations, if you guys practice with past papers, which if you do tutoring with me, I have access to them, I can send them to you. But literally, it's always the same type of it won't be the exact same thing. And for Spanish, let me tell you this from now, they do not repeat passages for Spanish. What is repeated is vocabulary, and I always stress this in my tutor sessions. What is repeated is vocabulary. The vocabulary that you just happen to buck up in a book or a reading passage that you decided to bypass just might be the very word that comes back to haunt you, because you will not see the same passage again for reading comprehension, but you will see vocabulary again, because remember, you have set themes that you're being tested on based off the syllabus, right? So if you're okay with the relevant vocabulary that are under each theme, for example, under the theme of school, are you able to say the different facilities in your school and stuff like that? You need to be able to say that, because those are the vocabulary that will be repeated. For paper 1, however, for the listening paper, you best believe, guys, God is so good, because I remember when I was in my CXC Spanish and I got a past paper sheet for paper 1, and the sheet basically had, so you know, in listening exam for CSEC, that is, you have the first section is you have a series, you have like pictures, it's all multiple choice, but you see pictures, and then basically the examiner reads one sentence to you and you circle which picture matches the sentence that they said or matches what they said, right? So I was practicing with a paper, and when me tell you, set every past paper sentence that was on it came back in my exam. Like, I could have did the exam blindfolded. Honestly, I was just like, circle. The trick when it comes on to listening paper, guys, do not waste your time, and I won't say waste time, but do not fret about trying to understand every single word that the audio is saying or that the person is saying. There are literally strategic things that you can do. For example, that section of the paper where you're looking at the pictures and you have to circle which one coincides with the sentence or matches the sentence, right? Look at the pictures before you even hear the examiner start reading the sentence, and determine, okay, listen out for who, where, listen out for gender. So if you hear A, yeah, automatically, you know, so if the response for A is a boy, that's not the answer. Listen out for gender. Listen out for quantity as well. If you see one of the options is one person, and next option is two persons, and you know, in the response they said ellos, that's plural, the third person plural, automatically the answer just might be the one with the two persons. Because sometimes, and this has happened to me, especially for this section, worst I could only read it to you once. If you don't catch everything that they say in that sentence, then you're not going to be able to get a second chance to hear it again. So listen out for the keywords and give your best, your most intelligent guess. If you don't know what the sentence is saying, using those keys of the gender or the quantity, you can figure out what they're saying. Same strategy for reading comprehension. Before you even read the passage, read the questions. I tell this to my students, read the questions first. Get an idea of what the passage is about. Identify, okay, who are the main subjects? What is the essence? What do you think the passage is about before you even read the passage? Have an idea of that. Sometimes you might read the passage and you might not know what a particular word means, which will happen. You will not know every single, just know from now, you're not going to know every single word. Sorry to break it to you, you won't. But if you read the questions first, sometimes the very question has the vocabulary for the word. And the good thing about CSEC paper 2 reading comprehension is that they ask the questions in the order in which it is presented in the passage. So automatically number 1 will not be in the last paragraph. Number 2 will not be in the second to last paragraph, right? So you're reading it in the order and you're answering the questions in the order in which they're presented. Most times, one question or two questions are in each paragraph. And also look at the marks. If the question is worth 1 mark, do not be there writing your heart out in 3 sentences for 1 mark, right? But if the question is worth like 3 marks, okay, then do not think that 1 sentence is enough. Go back to the passage and make sure you answer everything. When it comes down to the reading comprehension, you're not going to know every single word, but once you understand the essence of it, you can put 2 and 2 together. When it comes down to Spanish, sometimes you have to go with your gut. go with your gut, because you know what the passage is saying, and once you have the essence of the passage, you can put two and two together. Trust me. Go with your gut. What do you think it's saying based on what you do know? And do not leave out any vocabulary that you do know that you think is relevant to the question. There's so much I can say, guys. You have to come to my marathon so I can go through this with you one by one and literally do them with you, because there is so much. It's too much to put into one YouTube video, but it's a lot, and it's all about strategy. You have to go into the exam, especially when it comes down to your letter writing. Go into the exam already with, guys, go in there with your introduction. Have memorize. Of course, you're not going to know what topic you're going to have to write on, right? Reason it out. When you're studying for Spanish, guys, look at the themes. Okay, you have a theme of gender roles. You can reason out in your head, what could they possibly ask me about gender roles? I have so many Spanish resources. Reach out to me, come to my marathon. I have all of them to give you. Just reach out to me, because they won't ask you the same thing per se, but they will just tweak it. So there's so much and no more that you can ask about the different themes, right? So guys, it's all about strategy. Go in the exams with your points. What them always say, prepare to fail, or fail to prepare, prepare to, as I go, fail to prepare, prepare to fail. Yes. So go in there with all of your points. Go in there with there's certain like key phrase, especially for letter writing, especially for like the introduction. What do you typically open a letter with? What do you typically close a letter with? Go in there with the phrases, your filler phrases memorized, your transitional phrases and words. Go in the exam with all of those. Do not be in there busting your brain about what to write. You're wasting time. You don't have that much time. You're wasting time. How I was able to place in the region was not just my knowledge of the language, not me just knowing Spanish, right? But being strategic about how I approach the papers. It's all about, and this goes for every subject, it is all about strategy. There's so much more I can say, but like I said, I can't cover it all in one YouTube video. I really hope this wasn't too all over the place for you, but just know that strategy is what you have to approach these examinations with. Trust me. And I can go more in depth with you if you come to my marathon for CSEC and for tutoring as well. I can go one-on-one with you and we can discuss it further. Reach out to me for further questions, for resources. Share this with your friends. It is so doable. And I'm going to share a little bit more into my story of how I placed in the region in my next video, because it's a funny story. It's a very unexpected story, honestly. But thank you guys so much for watching this video. All the best. Te deseo el mejor en tus exámenes. And you will see me in my next video. Subscribe. That's my way. Every single day.